Welcome to Satsang, and welcome to our wonderful students from Gujarat, and welcome also to our family joining us from all over the world through this beautiful technology of the internet. It's such a beautiful blessing, a beautiful gift to be able to be together. We begin with a question that comes to us online from our global family joining us from all over the world. And then we'll open it up to any questions that any of you have. What is true freedom, and how can we experience it? So we speak a lot in Satsang about freedom. The highest goal of a spiritual practice and path is freedom. We say Moksha, but tragically a lot of times people think that Moksha is only something that you get after you die. So people say, after I die, then I will get Moksha. Mordne ke baad fir Moksha milega. But Moksha, liberation, is not freedom from the body. That's the myth, is that somehow when my body dies, then I will be free. But what that would mean is that the body is the problem. That somehow my arm, my elbow, my leg is what's keeping me stuck, is what's keeping me from moksha. But our arms, our legs aren't the problem. Plenty of enlightened masters have arms and legs and elbows. But if I think that my moksha is going to come when I die, then that means that the body is the issue. The body isn't the issue. The body is a beautiful gift that's been given to us to move through this particular part of our karmic journey. But also, it's a gift given to us to be able to interact with and appreciate creation. We can smell the beautiful fragrance of flowers because we have a nose. We can hear beautiful music because we have ears. We can embrace each other or embrace a tree because we have arms. This body is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful gift. We enjoy a sunset or a sunrise because we have eyes. So this body is a gift. It's what enables us to really interact with this beautiful creation. It's like God has given us this gift of the creation and then given us the gift that enables us to enjoy it. It would be like, let's say you were a fantastic cook, like the best cook in the world. And you had a baby you loved. And you made this baby paranthas. Okay? Maybe the best paranthas in the world. But the baby has no teeth. Now, that's not going to be a very great gift for the baby because the baby has no teeth. But if you had a magic wand and you could suddenly give your baby teeth, then you've given the baby this beautiful gift of your pradanta, and you've given the baby the tools through which they can enjoy the pradanta, right? But to give them the gift without the tools to enjoy it makes no sense. So God gives us this beautiful creation. Sunrises and sunsets and oceans and flowers and beautiful music and rushing rivers. Hot cups of tea on cold days, right? Cold lemonade on hot days that we can enjoy. The feel of the cool breeze in the forest. If we've been walking or hiking, just these beautiful moments where just through the senses we experience that gift of the creation. But we have to have a body to do that. The sunrise and the sunsets will be there whether we have a body or not. The music will be there whether we have ears to hear it or not. But we're not able to benefit from it. So this body is the gift that enables us to benefit from this gift of creation. The body is not the jail or the cage or the bondage. The mind is. So freedom, moksha, is not from the body. It's in the body from the mind. From the games that the mind plays. It's the mind that makes us miserable. Even when the body's injured. Right? Somebody gets a broken arm or a broken leg, and okay, it's not fun. But it doesn't make them miserable 24/7. They learn how to navigate the world with their arm in a cast or leg in a cast for a little while. Slowly the pain wears off, or they, take paracetamol or something. Doesn't make them miserable all the time. Only the mind has the ability to make us miserable all the time. And that's where the freedom is, freedom from the games of the mind. From the ego and the competition and the jealousies and the judgment and the negativity. All of that keeps us stuck. If we went around the room and I said, if you could change one thing in your life to make you happier, if you could change the one thing that causes you the most trouble, you're going to give me something that's a product of the mind. Now, you might think it's the body. If I just were thinner, right? Or if I just were a little bit less skinny. If I just were a little fair-skinned or a little darker-skinned. Or if I just were a little taller, or if I just were a little shorter. But it's not the body that's the problem. It's not the color, the size, the shape. It's the way the mind thinks about the body. It's the mind that says, oh, this is ugly. Oh, this isn't good enough. So the problem is the mind. Or you might say, my problem is my brother or sister. He or she really annoys me. Does this, does that. Or maybe someone in your friend circle. Maybe someone else you know. Maybe someone in your class. But again, it's not the brother or sister or friend or classmate. It's the way the mind thinks about them that causes the problem. So real moksha is freedom from the way that the mind thinks and keeps us trapped. And the way that we get there is through all of our spiritual practices that help us work with the mind. So when we meditate, we realize we are not the mind. Mind is going off in one direction, but we are with our breath. You watch the mind, and when you watch the mind or you watch the thoughts, you realize, well, I can't be the mind because I'm watching the mind. You can't be subject and object at the same time. I can't be my thoughts because I'm watching my thoughts. Or I'm changing my thoughts. Like if I say right now, think about blueberry muffins. Warm blueberry muffins straight from the oven. Okay? Y'all could do it, right? Not a difficult task. It means you've controlled your mind. Not all the time, but for that 30 seconds, you were able to control your mind. To think exactly what you said you were going to think. It means you're not your thoughts. Because if you're the one telling which thoughts to think, you can't actually be the thoughts. So through meditation, we start to realize, I'm not my thoughts. I'm not my mind because I'm watching my mind. I am the one aware of my mind. My mind is jumping. My emotions are jumping. I'm watching them. I'm saying, anger. It means I'm not the anger. Jealousy. It means I'm not the jealousy. I'm noticing it. I'm seeing it. Well, if I'm seeing something, I'm not it. Like I can see this piece of paper. It means I'm not the paper. I can even see my hand. It means I'm not my hand. I have a hand. Have a piece of paper. But I'm not it. And we slowly start to do more and more practices that help us realize we aren't the mind, we aren't the thoughts. Because that's the most important first step. Otherwise we feel like these helpless victims. Oh my God, my mind. My mind is driving me crazy. My mind is doing this. My mind is that. As though somehow we have no control and it just is us. And sometimes we say things like that. Well, that's just how I am. Well, no. That's just how your brain is programmed. It's not who you are. It's just how the chemistry and electricity of your brain currently is functioning. Could be changed. It's like if you eat nothing but pizza all day, every day, and you have a stomach ache. Would you say, that's just my stomach? Well, you'd understand. Well, your stomach is aching because you've been feeding it nothing but pizza all day long, every day for 20 years. It aches. Doesn't digest food so well. Maybe it's larger and flabbier than you would like it to be. But it's not you. It's just based on what you've been doing with it for the last 20 years. But you can change that. The minute you say, okay, I'm going to stop eating so much pizza. I'm going to start eating more vegetables, more dal, eating sort of a healthy diet. Well, my stomach will change. It'll no longer hurt. My digestion will no longer be messed up. My stomach will change. How it works, what it looks like, how it feels. In the same way, our mind is just like that because we've been feeding it junk thoughts for 20 plus years. Some of our cases for 40 plus years. So, in the same way that you wouldn't say, well, that's just how my stomach is, you would work to change it. The same way, don't say, well, that's just how I am. figure out what kind of junk thoughts have I been feeding myself that make my mind give me this pain, give me this suffering, give me this struggle. Right? Like if you wake up in the morning and you're really constipated, or you've got really bad diarrhea, either way, you're going to say, Ki chalo kal maine kya khaya? What did I eat yesterday that has caused this problem for me today? And how can I be sure not to eat that in the future? Well, in the same way, if you find that you're suffering from anger, you're suffering from ego, you're suffering from judgment, you're suffering from jealousy, ask yourself, what kind of junk thoughts am I feeding myself that's giving me this disease of a brain that hurts? Right? A mind that's hurting. So that's how we start to work toward our freedom. It's to realize we aren't the mind. And when we realize we're not the mind, then we start to be able to control it. Work with it. And ultimately become free of its control. It's not that we no longer have a mind. We're not talking about destroying the mind. The mind is a beautiful tool. It's breaking the chain that the mind does whatever it wants, whenever it wants, and it's the one in charge. And it determines things. Instead, my consciousness, my clarity, my mindfulness determines what my mind's going to do. In the same way that no matter how much the stomach wants the pizza again, you're going to realize, no, I know where that's going to go. I know I'm just going to have a stomach ache tomorrow. I know I'm going to be constipated. So no. In the same way, when the mind starts to have these thoughts, starts to go in these directions, you say, no, I know where this is headed. I've been there. No more. And as we break those chains of both the habit and also the identification, then we start getting closer and closer and closer to moksha, to freedom. And when we actually are free, then the body becomes the gift that it's always been. Because then we're not stuck in it. Then we're actually able to really enjoy this beautiful creation. Beautiful. If anyone here has a question, I would be happy to take it. Yes. We are just going to need you to keep your mask on,
okay,
though.
Yeah.
I know it's not...
Yeah.
Thanks. It's just because we're a bit tight in here.
Yeah.
So,
I understand. Okay. So it's more like a personal wonder, like when you say about breaking the chain of the mind, like if I observe my own journey, like how, in spite of doing regular sadhana, and how easy it is to step back into this pattern, and how come is it so easy to step out of stability, of inner stability. So the more I do sadhana, the more I wonder, like how come is it possible to at the same time, for example, read scriptures or be into sadhana and then still be stuck in some small things.
yes, yes. So, let's say that I wanted to carry water, okay? A bucket of water from the ground to the rooftop. Okay? Not by hand, not I'm going to pick it up and carry it, but I wanted somehow that water to reach from the ground to the roof. Okay? I would have to devise some kind of engineering feat, right? We have them. It's what enables people on the top floors of buildings to get running water. But there's a whole engineering machine behind it. Okay? I'm not an engineer. I don't know exactly how it works, but presumably they've got some kind of pumps that are pumping the water up, right? Requires probably some level of electricity and a whole machinery going to get the water up. But if you've got a bucket of water on the top of the roof and you want it to come down, what do you have to do? Just let go of it. Right? You don't have to actually do anything. You just have to stop pumping it up or let go of it if you're holding it. And automatically that water is going to come down. To bring it up takes a lot of energy and a lot of work and a lot of innovations and entrepreneurship and inventions over the last, couple of centuries. But to get water to go from the top down takes nothing. It happens automatically. Sadly, the mind is very similar. It has a tendency, much like water, to just go, and it just, if you're not aware of it, it just, it's the nature of the mind. However, the more you bring it up, unlike water, it seems to develop in some way, almost as though its density changes, such that it becomes a lot easier to keep up. It seems to weigh a lot less somehow. And even if you let go, it doesn't necessarily fall down. Or if it falls, it doesn't fall all the way or not so quickly. And the more you bring it up, it seems like it keeps getting more and more habituated to being up. And again, its density seems to change. And it starts to stay up. That's the benefit of the mind over a bucket of water. If you bring that bucket of water up 10 billion times, it's going to come down just as fast on the 10 billionth and one time as it did on the first time. But the mind gets habituated, slowly. But recognize that falling back is the nature of the mind. It's not your fault. It's not that you're not a good sadhak. Because that's how a lot of us think. Oh my God, I've been meditating, I've been praying, I've been doing my scriptural reading, I've been doing my sadhana, and still I had this thought or I had that reaction. When those happen, I was just talking about this earlier today. When this happens, just bow to the humanness within you. Just bow to that very human mind that's heading down. Bow to it. Thank you for reminding me I'm human. But now, we're going to go back up. And as you have those thoughts or those reactions, make sure not to identify as them. This is the key, is I'm meditating, and then I have this thought of anger, let's say. Or a thought of jealousy, or of greed, or of lust, or whatever it might be. Now, instead of just noticing it, or I react to something in my life, somebody sends me a text message, or an email, or says something, and I react in a non-spiritual way. Instead of getting my whole identity drama hooked into that, whether it's a thought, whether it's a reaction, the moment you notice it, the moment you notice that you are going down, just stop. And bring the awareness back to the truth of who you are. Don't identify with it. Don't get yourself wrapped up more and more in that drama. We bow. I'm still human. And then we disengage. Disengage the identification. I am not the one having this reaction. I am not the one having this thought. I am the one aware of the reaction. I am the one aware of the thought. And you just come back to I am the one who is aware. I am the one who is aware. I am the one who is aware. And yeah, sometimes thoughts of anger or greed or lust arise. Sometimes thoughts of God and divinity arise. And they're all just thoughts. I'm not any of them. I'm the one aware of them. Slowly, 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 you'll find that those thoughts that pull you down come much less frequently, and that you catch them much more quickly. You'll be like halfway into a thought, and then you know, oh, I know where this is going. And you'll come back. I am the one aware. Beautiful. Does anyone else have any questions? Yes.
पूरा जीवन हमारा कर्मों का खेल है. तो अभी मैं जो कर्म कर रही हूँ वो पिछले जन्म का संचित कर्म है, उसको भोग रही हूँ, या नया मैं क्रिएट कर रही हूँ अगले जन्म के लिए, वो कैसे पता चले? क्योंकि पूरा जीवन वही कर्मों के खेल में ही अटक जाता है. तो थोड़ा बार बार ये प्रश्न उठता है कि हर एक कर्म करते वक्त पता नहीं चलता है कि पिछला है मैं भोग रही हूँ, या तो उस पे थोड़ा प्रकाश डालें.
दोनों है.
धन्यवाद. प्रणाम.
प्रणाम. दोनों है. आज मैं जहाँ हूँ, जो स्थिति में मैं हूँ, जो कर्म में कर रही हूँ, it's the result of my past karma, चाहे इसी जन्म का, चाहे पूर्व जन्म का. But it's also laying the seeds for the fruits of the future. Chahe is janam ka future, chahe next life. It's both. So right now, here we all are in Rishikesh, at Parmarth Niketan, in Satsang. Or those joining us from online, you are wherever you are. But you're joined in Satsang right now. We are here based on the sum total of all of our past karma. All of it has led up, bit by bit, to us being right here. But being here is laying seeds for where you will be tomorrow, next week, next year. क्योंकि देखो, even आप सत्संग में बैठ रहे हैं, आप attention pay कर सकते हैं. You can be paying attention. But you also could be daydreaming. You also could be wishing you'd gone for pizza. Right? Even though physically we are all here, that's due to all of our past births, our past actions, past lives, earlier this life. But while I am here, what seeds am I planting for the future? Am I sitting here wishing I had gone for pizza? Am I sitting here thinking about how angry I am at so-and-so for the text message they sent me that I just saw before I came into satsang? And finally the great response came to my mind. Now I'm waiting for satsang to end so that I can send them that really nasty response. Or am I going to sit here and actually be here and actually think about how based on this my life can be different? In both cases you're physically here, but in each case the seeds you're planting are very different. And what that means is that in the future the outcome is going to be very different. But ये भी याद रखिएगा कि भगवद गीता में भगवान कृष्ण ने कैसे समझाया कि अर्जुन ने ये भी बोला, सब तो कर्म का खेल है सर, अंत क्या है? If I do good things, I'm going to get good fruits. लेकिन फिर भी मुझे वापस आना पड़ेगा खाने के लिए. और भगवान कृष्ण ने समझाया कि you cannot not act. Whatever you are doing, you are acting. The only way to break free of this scale, this drama, this cycle, is to recognize that you are not the doer. To recognize that you're just the vehicle through which the doing is happening. We speak in Sanskrit about nimitta matram, right? That idea, I'm just an instrument. Saint Francis of Assisi has a beautiful prayer where he says, "O Lord, let me be an instrument of thy mercy. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is injury, pardon." It's the same teaching. Let me be an instrument. Meaning, it's not me. I'm not the light bearer. I'm an instrument of light. I'm not the one making peace. Yeah, I'm so great. Did you see what I just did? Wherever I go, peace comes. That's because I'm so great. No. Let me just be an instrument. Oh God, you work through me. The light is yours. The peace is yours. The love is yours. Let me just be an instrument of that. And with that bhav, that nimitta matram bhav, whatever we're doing, we are surrendering it. And just allowing the divine to work through us. And that's the way that it doesn't stick. Wonderful. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your night. A beautiful morning and daytime and afternoon to all of our family joining us from all over the world. And I look so forward to being with you all again tomorrow.